Hi, YouTube.
Hey YouTube friends and family, it's your boy GB Reviews, and today we're doing another cooking tutorial slash food review from Home Chef. And so today we're going to do some barbacoa steak tacos. I'll walk you through the process. We'll look and see how challenging it is on a difficulty scale. I think just by looking at the instructions, it's probably the difficulty 1 or 2. But I want you guys to let me know. Hit that like button too for the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe now. I'll tell you that in the beginning just because I want you guys to continue to take this food journey with me while we're locked in. So again, all these meals that I'm showing you and preparing, you can't prepare them without having the meal delivery service. But the delivery service makes it easy because it comes prepackaged. Everything comes in a bag. This is how the bag looks. And it tells you what it's on there, but everything comes pre-packaged in a bag. All the ingredients are organic and fresh, and it's just kind of fun. It's a fun activity to do, breaks up the day, breaks up the monotony of being home all the time, right? And so since you can't do outdoor activities, why not use this time to become a better cook, a better musician, a better whatever. You should make sure that when all of this is done, you have become better at something. Just try to pick a hobby and do it. This one, I like cooking. My mom liked cooking. A lot of my friends and family members cook all the time. And so I tried it and now I'm kind of hooked. I'm doing different food delivery services. If you think of a food delivery service also, please just kind of drop it in the comments below and I'll try to get that out to you. But anyway, we're gonna move forward and we're gonna look to see what ingredients we have. So looking at all of the things that come in the packet, before we even go through the food stuff, we're gonna look at the card. So this is the card, and this is what the barbacoa tacos look like. On the back of the card, there is instructions on how to do it. And then we look at the ingredients list. These are the ingredients. So you have basically, 1 Roma tomato, 1 jalapeno, sour cream, the tortillas, a shallot or an onion, whatever they call this. You have your cilantro, you have your chili and cumin rub for the meat. They give you 10 ounces of meat, and you have your queso fresco, 2 ounces of that. And that's it. And then things that you should have at home are olive oil, pepper, things like that. And then for this, it's pretty easy to make. As I said, cook. Here, we're gonna look and show you. 20 to 35 minutes, difficulty level easy, spice level is mild. I may spice it up a little bit. And when you get the ingredients, they said to cook everything in about 6 days. Depends on if you have a really cold refrigerator, and if you're going in and out of it a lot. But so far, everything, I've had this stuff probably for, I don't know, maybe 5 days, but everything is still firm. My jalapenos are firm. But anyway, everything's organic, fresh. And so we're gonna go through, we're gonna cut it up, we're gonna cook it, and I'm gonna walk you through the steps. Some steps will speed up, but I want you to I just wanna show you how easy it is, and then how you too can cook at home. And so again, like I said, after all this is over, hopefully you'll be a better cook, but also you can prepare a lot more meals at home, which will help you to save money in the future. If you use a discount code included in the links below or the description below, I think it gives you like $30 off or $35 off. But just hit the discount code or use the discount code, and you will get a discount on ordering meals. And you can order different meals, and every week they come out with different meals, and you can choose to skip them as you want. But the nice part about it, like I said, it gives you recipe cards, and then you can just buy the ingredients yourself. So let's go. So we're gonna go through the process. You see my vegetables here. So I have the lime, which is not a vegetable, and tomato, which for people who don't know is not a vegetable. A shallot and a jalapeno and my cilantro. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna prepare the ingredients. So we have our bowls, and we're gonna have to juice the, the nice thing about Home Chef too is they give you these nice cool containers with lids and screw caps, so they allow you, basically they give you containers to actually use for cooking, so that's kind of cool. But we're gonna use the Tiny Chef stuff. I mean, Home Chef stuff, not Tiny Chef. Remember, Tiny Chef's that game I used to love. But the first thing for preparing the ingredients is you're gonna wash everything and then you're gonna pat it dry. So we're gonna just rinse all our stuff off. And we're not gonna make the mistake I made last time. We're gonna just pat everything dry because we want it. We don't want like extra water on our cutting board. And then now we have dry our cutting board. And then now we're gonna have vegetables, clean vegetables for making our ingredients. So the first thing you wanna do is you wanna halve the shallot. So we're gonna start off with the shallot just because that's easier. Shallot is this onion I told you. We're gonna peel it. And again, a sharp knife is a sharp knife is a safe knife. Since I've sharpened my knife, and because I'm cooking a lot more than I would normally cook, I'm trying to sharpen my knives. I'm trying to sharpen my knives at least once a week. That way, and I cut it in half the wrong way. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut it in half and then you're gonna cut it into strips. And basically I'm doing half strips now. So move this out of the way just so you can see. And since my stuff is nice and sharp, I'm getting good strips. Make sure you peel it properly because you don't want, the worst part of onions is that layer of skin that's just kind of not very good. And if you see how I'm cutting using my finger to cut down. And then technically you're supposed to cut like this. When I say cut like this, you want to curl your fingers back because if you cut your fingers if you keep your fingers out straight, you typically increase your chances of cutting your fingers. So we're cutting into strips and we're doing half the shallot. So I'm going to reserve half of the shallot here to the side. We're going to just put it to the side because we're going to use that for the steak. So half is going to go for our, and I'm just going to put it over here. I don't even need to put it in bowls, but I'm put it over here. Half of that is I'm going to pickle that with the jalapeno. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out our cilantro. And because I kept it a little bit longer than I should have, like you'll be able to see the parts that aren't very good. You just take that off and get rid of that. And then everything else is actually quite good. And then don't worry about the stems. You don't need to stem it. You can just mince it. But again, if you have soft pieces on it, you want to cut the soft pieces off. And then we're just gonna mince this. If your knife is if your knife is sharp enough, you should be able to mince it by just dropping the knife on top of it. You don't really have to put your hands close to it. So I always encourage you guys to use sharp knives. I gotta move this down so you can see what I'm doing, sorry. I apologize. When I'm mincing it, and that's it, look at that. And that's easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So the next thing, we're gonna move that to the side. And then the next thing we wanna do is we wanna half and juice this. So I'm gonna cut that in half. And then I'm gonna use my trusty container that I got from another Home Chef meal. And I'm just gonna juice this, that's it. So look at that. And it'll be clear what we're doing with this because the next step is we're gonna pickle our vegetables. So you're gonna use the lime juice to pickle the vegetables. So, don't say that word. And lime, just remember, goes perfectly with barbacoa tacos. Again, be safe out there. Stay home, use Home Chef, cook a little bit, and you'll feel better. So I got my lime juice. I did a half of it. Now I'm gonna cut my tomato, and then I'm gonna core my tomato, because you don't really need the inside of the tomato. We want the outside bits. So when you core a tomato, it's just easy. You just take a small spoon, a teaspoon, and you just pop out the seeds in the center. For some dishes, you need it, but for this dish, we only want, so you just want to take your spoon, you pop it in there, and you core it. And then if you cut both sides of that, it's easy to just pop out. You pop the center out, and then that's it. You get the core, and anything left in the core, you can just kind of scrape out with a teaspoon. And then some of these things they don't explain to you how to do, but shout out to my little brother Marcus. He watches a lot of cooking shows. So of course, I'm trying to learn some tips from him and from my little brother Brandon. They both cook a lot. I'm trying to be better about cooking. So basically we're gonna dice this into 1/4 cubes. So I'm gonna cut it down again. And then if I cut it like this, and then I cut it again, you're probably gonna get your 1/4 cubes. I mean, they don't have to be necessarily cube shaped. I personally don't care so much about that, but some people do. As long as the size is right, then you'll have the perfect size for either cooking or putting into meals or dishes. And so a lot of times, you know, people get lazy and they don't want to cut their vegetables to the right size. When recipes specify a lot of times for you to cut it to a certain size, it's because it cooks faster when you cut it to a certain size. So you want to make sure that you get it down. As you can see from how long this is taking, and again, it wouldn't take you this long at home because you obviously aren't talking to a camera. But the thing that takes the longest time, again, and I've said this in my other videos, is prepping for cooking meals takes a lot longer. And then the thing that even takes longer still is cleanup. And that's the part where I think a lot of us at home really just detest cooking because the cleanup is so difficult. But like I said, now we have more time because we're not out in the world as much. I say, hey, use the time to do something, to create a hobby for yourself. This is good. You know, maybe when the world goes back to normal, we won't have time to do this. And then you will appreciate, you'll look back on your, you know, your years when you are busy working and you're like, oh man, I wish I had time to cook meals. You'll look back on it and you'll realize like, hey, I did have time. I'm gonna put these tomatoes in a bowl because they're, one, a little messy. I need to clean my chopping board a little bit. I'm just gonna take the towel I use to pat stuff dry, and I'm gonna wipe it off just because I'm trying to not make a mess. And I'm gonna wipe my knife off. But just clean that off. I would normally just rinse this off, but I'm trying to, again, save a little bit of time because this video just gets so long. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stem the jalapeno. You saw me do this in the previous video, but I'll show you how to do it. Once you cut it down the center, you wanna take out the seeds. So once I take the seeds out, and you want to take the ribs out. See the ribs? It looks just like a bell pepper on the inside, and I'm not sure how hot this is. Jalapenos are very deceptive in terms of, in the pepper world. Some you get, they taste almost like bell peppers, and then some you get, and they taste like peppers, right? So the way I stem it, which is easy, again, using your sharp knife, finger on the blade, you just can lay the blade flat, and you just run across it, and then the stems come right off. So you lay the blade flat, you run it across it. It's basically just shaving off a fine layer, and it just takes the ribs right off. So that way you don't have to worry about it. And then look, you got no ribs. Take the seeds out. Because we don't really need the seeds. Hopefully I'll get a recipe at some point where it requires you to use the seeds. And I'm not growing anything because I'm just not. I could start growing peppers at home, but a lot of times if you get like these peppers that aren't super hot, then you don't have super hot peppers. And you need a lot of sunlight and dry soil. And so, all right, so you got that. You're stemming and ribbing, and then you're gonna cut it into thin strips. So, if you look at this, you can see the strips that I'm cutting in. They're just thin strips. And so we're just cutting into thin strips. And again, be careful. Like I said, I just haven't gotten the technique down of using my fingers like this. I'm gonna start practicing that just so when I'm showing you guys. Look, so you put your fingers down like this. It is very difficult to cut your finger, shave the skin off, because the thing is, by the time your blade gets down your finger, it's already on the thing. So we're gonna start using this technique because I keep telling you guys to do it and I don't do it. And so it's just awkward for me. If I had smaller hands, it would be better too, but whatever. You know what they say, big hands, big feet. At least that's what they tell me. All right, and then the last piece, actually, I'll do the last piece after I clean the board, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pickle the vegetables because that part takes 10 minutes. So you're gonna take a bowl, you're gonna put your jalapeno strips in here. You're gonna take a fourth of the shallot that we've cut already. We're gonna put it in there. And then we're gonna take our juice and we're gonna just pour that in there. And we're gonna let that sit. Actually, I wanna make sure my shallot is cut a little bit more. And that's gonna sit for 10 minutes. Once this sits for 10 minutes, it'll pickle it pretty nicely. And you're gonna use this, you're gonna let this pickle while you're making your cilantro cream. But we're gonna do the meat now. I'm gonna clean it off. And actually, what else do I need? I have tomatoes in a bowl. I have my extra shallots. And then we're gonna make the cilantro thing. Actually, I need one more bowl, so I gotta get one more bowl. So excuse me for a second. I'm doing things a little bit out of order because the way they tell you to do it in order, it sort of makes sense, but sometimes it's just easier when you have stuff out of the way. So I'm gonna get this out of the way. This is the bowl I'm gonna use to make my cilantro cream. So I'm putting this in here, getting all my cilantro out. And then what else am I using? I'm trying to figure out what else I'm using onions for. Actually, yeah, I'll put these to the side. So all this to the side. I'm just gonna clean this off real quick, and then we're gonna clean our meats. And then we'll be ready to go. Again, please let me know if you guys have questions about how to do this. You can put the questions below. You can go to some of my other socials and DM me. I am easy to reach because I'm not traveling as much as I used to. If you look at some of my other videos, I used to travel a lot for work. I'm not traveling nearly as much. So, because I'm not traveling as much, I'm around a lot. All right, so now we're gonna cut this open. And I'm gonna rinse this off and then you're gonna pat it dry. And again, chef scissors. There are certain kitchen tools that I tell people that you just can't live without. And chef scissors are one of them because, let me just tell you, there's no substitute for being able to open stuff easily. So I've opened this pack. I'm gonna pull this meat out. Pulling the meat out from the top, letting some of the excess juice in the leave it in the bottom. Just pull it out easy because you don't want to like necessarily rip the things apart, but you also want to be able to get it out without taking any of the excess blood and juice, right? Then we're gonna pat that off, and then throw that away. And then, remember, we already have it in a paper towel. We're just gonna pat that off. We're gonna try to get some of that excess blood off. We'll cook it out. If you don't, again, if you don't eat meat, you can do a portobello mushroom substitute, so you do not have to use meat for this. The meals that they have and the recipes that they have are quite easy, and they are just designed so that you can do substitutions. I tell people all the time, right now is probably the best time in life to be a vegetarian, because there's just so many options to do things. If you're gluten-free and all of these other things that people have, gluten allergies and wheat allergies and stuff like that, the world is just so nice now. I can't even imagine if you were, living years ago and trying to deal with all of these things. It's just so difficult. So now we got our meat. We're gonna put that to the side. And now we're gonna clean this off. The last thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna put it to the side over here. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make our cilantro, sour cream. I don't need this knife anymore. I don't need the scissors anymore. So, sorry about that. The last thing you're gonna do, so we have a mixing bowl. You wanna combine sour cream, cilantro. We're gonna use a tablespoon of olive oil, or a teaspoon of olive oil. So, and water. And I showed you the olive oil that I like. I like extra virgin olive oil. So we're gonna put our sour cream in here. You're just squeezing this in here. There's nothing special about it. I'm just trying not to make a mess because I didn't really open it properly. And again, some people have sour cream in their house. This is Pure and Natural Daisy brand sour cream. So. Olive oil. Use my spoon to mix everything up. And then we're gonna use a teaspoon of olive oil and just a teaspoon of water. Teaspoon of olive oil. A teaspoon of water. See why I say these things are handy? Like, you can use them for anything. So I'm using a teaspoon of water. And then I'm gonna use salt. And I might use spicy salt. Or not salt, excuse me. I'm gonna use regular black pepper. And you just want a pinch of black pepper. And then you set aside. And so, you're gonna combine all of these things. This is how they look when they're not combined. And I'm just gonna mix this up. I mean, it just shows you, again, some of the things when you go to restaurants and you're like, man, how do they make these really elaborate sauces? And then what you realize is that they're actually not that difficult to make, right? Sorry about the tapping noise. I just want to combine this really well. And then that's how it looks when you combine it, right? See how it tastes. That's pretty good. I can taste the cilantro. I can definitely taste the olive oil. All right, now we're moving, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna start cooking. So with that, let's go. All right, so our next step is actually, you wanna do the tortillas. So basically, and you see I have the aluminum foil laid out. We're gonna just do the tortillas. You wanna warm them a little bit. I have my heat on high. I did not grease my skillet, and I'm actually gonna switch from a skillet to a pan when I cook the meat. But I have a cast iron skillet, and I find that a cast iron skillet, for me, is the best way to heat up tortillas. So you're just gonna use them. The skillet, like I said, is set on high. And then you'll see the tortilla will start to brown. And then as it starts to brown and rise a little bit, you're gonna move it to your aluminum foil. Once I do all of my tortillas, so I have a whole bunch, like a deck of cards. They send you six tortillas. Then I will put them in aluminum foil and I'll wrap them just to make sure that, and then you can touch it, you can tell it's starting to, when you can feel the heat. If I had a larger skillet, which it actually is probably large enough for me to do 2 at a time. Anytime you're cooking tortillas, not just for this meal, but anytime you're cooking tortillas, you do not, my cast iron skillet is always slightly greased because that's how you prevent it from rusting. But you don't really want to grease the pan because you don't want to transfer the grease to the tortillas. What I'm doing right now is for the first couple, they will probably get a little bit of the olive oil transferred to them. But once I get to the last 4, I won't have olive oil transferred to them. This one I think is done. And in the process of, if you're doing this and you want to make it, as you can see how they're browned. In the process of making tortillas for yourself, sometimes people substitute corn tortillas for flour tortillas. That is a good substitution only because flour tortillas have a little bit more calories than the corn tortillas. I personally don't have a preference. I'm just using flour tortillas now because they, the home chef people sent me flour tortillas. But if I was making this meal at home and I was sourcing the ingredients myself, and as you can see, as your pan starts to get hotter, I could probably turn it down a little bit because my tortillas are actually heating very nicely and quickly. And then after that, leaving this skillet, or leaving the stove hot, I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna grab a skillet. I'm gonna put about 1/4 of a teaspoon of, a teaspoon of olive oil in that skillet, and I'm gonna drop our steak in there, and then we're gonna use that. And these are, like I said, when you're cast iron skillets I like because they heat up quickly. And for things like this, for making tortillas and stuff like that, like if you're making quesadillas, it's just like super quick and easy. I'm gonna explain the instructions for the meat, and then I'm gonna do the meat, and I'm gonna try not to talk when I'm doing the meat because I'm gonna speed up the video so that you can see how much time it takes, but it doesn't take too much time. So we're gonna turn this off. We're gonna move the skillet over here, and then we're gonna grab a pan, and I'm gonna put some olive oil in this. Actually, I'm gonna spray it first because, like I told you, my nonstick pans are not really as nonstick as they should be. So, oh, sorry, I forgot to do that. I forgot to wrap these up. Make sure you wrap up your tortillas because you want your tortillas to stay warm while you're doing all your other stuff. And so they're gonna stay warm, and then I am gonna turn my heat down a little bit. So you wanna use medium-high heat. So you don't wanna use the high heat like I use for the tortillas. You wanna use medium-high heat. Even though this is already hot, I put it on medium, and then it'll start to kind of remove the glaze off of the Pam cooking spray. I use Pam cooking spray with olive oil, and then I'm gonna drop the meat in there. So that way I don't have to worry about adding too much olive oil. But normally you'd add 1 teaspoon of olive oil to this before you put your steak in there. And so I am gonna start adding steak, and I'm gonna be quiet so we can go through this. Now, once this is browned and there's no more red, see, I don't see any more red, we are going to now add the remaining shallots that we had that we cut. We're gonna cook that for 2 to 3 minutes, and then after that, we're gonna add our spices. So I'm gonna go silent again, but we're gonna cook the, and we'll speed it up so that way you don't have to sit through it. But remember this step, the next step with the shallots is gonna be 2 to 3 minutes. Now I told you these containers are like super useful. I'm back again. So now the last step, we've cooked this for 2 to 3 minutes, and you're gonna add 1/4 a cup of water. You're gonna add your rub. You're gonna add the tomatoes. You're gonna add a pinch of salt, and you want to continue cooking this for about 2 to 3 minutes until all the water evaporates. So I'm gonna put my tomatoes in. I'm gonna put my water in. I'm gonna use some of the spicy sauce because Morton spicy seasoning, only because, and I'm also gonna use their seasoning, but it's just not gonna be hot enough. So we're gonna, use both. And then for the last 2 minutes, I'm not gonna say anything because I wanna speed this up for you. One of the things, because I'm cooking and I'm filming, I'm not cleaning at the same time, but the best thing you can do while you're cooking your food is you want to cook and clean at the same time. You want to turn this over while and it smells so good. That the seasoning, it smells, again, the food that they send you, not only is it organic, but the ingredients are restaurant quality ingredients. So you can see from that, I mean, it looks like it was made in a restaurant. All of the water is pretty much gone. And I'm gonna cook it a little bit longer. And then, once you finish this step, I'll plate it for you, and we will end it off with a delicious meal. And we're done. So let's plate it, and then we're good to go. So we got it nice and plated. I got extra lime. If I want to squeeze lime on top, you got a half a lime. But this is how it should look plated. We're good to go. My cheese is melting. I put on you garnished everything with the cilantro sauce, the pickled vegetables that you made, the cilantro and sour cream sauce, and the queso. And you come up with a nice taco, and we're gonna try it. I'm gonna try it first without any of my hot sauce. Shout out again to the hot ones. This is Stargazer sauce. I like the Stargazer. It's not too hot, but it gives you a nice space. And this is a hot picante, so I thought it would be appropriate to go with this because it is a picante sauce. Here you go. If you want to order it from the hot ones, they have it. Check my video out when I talk about this. But let's try it without the sauce first. I'm sorry I'm messing up my plating, but hey. That was amazing. That is definitely, when I say restaurant quality, that's definitely restaurant quality. Now, what did I say earlier about not all jalapenos are alike? These jalapenos taste like bell pepper. And I think that they do that because they don't know who they're sending it to in terms of people's spice tolerance. And so, and just when you pick jalapenos, you just have no idea what the batch is gonna be. I pick peppers all the time from the grocery store, and some are hot, some are not. So I have used the Stargazer sauce. Again, this is probably like a 6 or 7 on my scale. I don't know, check my video out. I don't remember what it was, but it's gonna make it nice and hot now. with the extra heat. Whoo! Amazing. So, let me clear this first. I would definitely make this again. I like it. It's an easy meal for you, for your kids. It's an easy meal for a date night if you're trying to do a date night. But, you know, when you're plating food, things like that, all that matters. And the nice thing about the cards is that they show you how to plate it. So, and I just played it for you just so I can show you how simple it is. Definitely try it. Please hit that like button if you like the video. Also, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell because I'm going to do more meals. This actually, like I said, it's a 7. I'm feeling the heat now. But Home Chef, I like them. There's a link below in the description that's for a discount code so you can try it. I think you'll like it. And then again, they give you the recipe cards as I showed you that allow you to do this multiple times on your own. They tell you the ingredients that you need. They tell you the amounts. You just order it and you're good to go. Anyway, it's your boy GB Reviews. I thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. I know these are challenging times. Please social distance. Take care of yourselves and learn a skill while you're home. Learn to cook, learn a different language, learn to play an instrument, learn to code, do something. Use this time to become better than you were before. And for those out there who are struggling, know that it'll get better. Anyway, like I said, this is your boy GB Reviews. I'm out. Subscribe and like below.
Subscribe right below.